In 1999, a monumental event unfolds. One even more impactful than Y2K itself, forever altering the landscape of childhood. On one side, Lego, a harmless little company once content with its humble plastic bricks, now hungry for more. On the other, Lucasfilm, the studio that brought Star Wars to the world. A galaxy-spanning empire of lightsabers and daddy issues. Long before Disney enters the picture, they form an alliance so powerful it could rule the galaxy. A gleaming monstrosity poised to colonize the very concept of play. And like any good empire, once it takes hold, there's no escaping its force-filled grasp. In a millennium far, far away, this is the tale of Lego Star Wars. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying these videos, please consider subscribing. We have a team of people working on these and it would mean a lot. Thanks. Okay, back to the video. In 1998, a deal is forged in the shadows. A sort of rebel alliance, if you will. Although this alliance can be thought of more like an empire built by two corporations. Hailing all the way from the planet Denmark, where the iconic toy company Lego is struggling. Its plastic bricks, once the cornerstone of creativity, are no longer enough to compete with the glittering distractions of the upcoming new millennium. Video games, kids' TV, and other tech-based toys are eating away at its market share. Children would spend hours building castles, cars, and spaceships. But now, Lego is staring down the barrel of a rapidly evolving entertainment landscape. In a desperate bid to reinvigorate its business, Lego needs something big, something universal. And then there's Star Wars. The Star Wars brand, now in the midst of a grand revival, is a cash cow waiting to be milked. The Phantom Menace is about to bring audiences back to the galaxy far, far away, with all the promise of new characters, new stories, and of course, disturbing snacks. As we know in the present day, the movie would turn out to be less than out of this world. But you know what? Nobody cares. Not yet, anyway. Star Wars at this time has not yet been plagued by memeable prequels, nor amateurish sequels. Rey Palpatine, or I guess Skywalker, is still not even a glimmer in Mickey Mouse's eye. Its reputation remains untarnished, still riding off the nostalgia for Return of the Jedi and the high of the well-received expanded universe for the diehards. Lucasfilm, a company that's no stranger to the lucrative side of fandom, is more than ready to capitalize on its upcoming wave of buzz. It's this perfect storm of desperation and opportunity that leads to the fateful meeting of these two giants. Lego, at this point, practically surviving off food stamps, and Lucasfilm eager to squeeze every last drop of profit from its cultural juggernaut, see an opening. Like a weak point in the Death Star schematics, Lego Star Wars is born. This newfound empire conquers with tiny bricks that fit together perfectly and the promise of a new generation of children who will spend years building and ultimately surrendering their allowance to an ever-expanding universe of Star Wars sets. It starts with a few simple sets based on Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and quickly expands. What begins as a modest partnership evolves into a far more insidious business model. One where every corner of the Star Wars universe is fair game for monetization. There is no going back. By the early 2000s, Lego Star Wars has become the superweapon of childhood consumerism, a force more powerful than any lightsaber. A single set, once a simple pastime for kids, now becomes a tactical assault on their birthdays and their Christmas lists. The colourful bricks, once symbols of creativity, are now archaic building blocks for capitalism. Each set a carefully calibrated device designed to extract every last penny from eager hands. The need for the next Lego Star Wars set becomes an obsession. For every child, that next piece Whether it's Darth Maul and the Sith Infiltrator, the TIE Fighter, or the ever-expanding army of stormtroopers, is a badge of honor. A way to display loyalty to the galaxy they've come to love. Bedrooms transform into shrines of coveted Padme minifigures. Because when you're 9 years old, this is the pinnacle of the ideal woman. Young fans start to see themselves as captains of their own armies, commanders of fleets. Strong with the Force and capitalism they are. And in the process, they're building the world as it was designed for them by corporations. The toys, the characters, and the storylines blur into a single experience, where what's on the shelf becomes as much a part of the Star Wars canon as the films themselves. Over time, the prequels garner something of a reputation, and not of the admirable sort. Even the most iconic moments are eclipsed by their Lego counterparts. An entire generation's understanding of Star Wars is rewritten by the tactile satisfaction of snapping together pieces, the smell of fresh bricks, and the sound of those tiny ships roaring to life under the hands of children and adolescents. It's a strange, subtle shift, one where the Star Wars universe, in its true cinematic form, is overtaken by cartoonish parody. This phenomenon is exacerbated in 2005, when a new weapon in this growing arsenal is unleashed. LEGO Star Wars the video game. With its simple yet addictive gameplay, it brings the Star Wars prequels into every child's living room in a new way. The start of licensed adventure games under the LEGO banner. What starts as a harmless diversion becomes a fully fledged cultural event. It serves as a gateway drug for budding Star Wars fans. It's an opportunity to experience Star Wars on LEGO's terms. It is another layer in the ever-expanding universe that LEGO has crafted. One where every battle is fought with tiny figures, and where each completed mission rewards the player with more LEGO pieces, more ships, more characters, rather than narrative fulfillment. Although, in fairness, the prequel movies didn't offer much narrative fulfillment either, now did they? This video game acts as a final step of this takeover, indoctrinating children into the LEGO Star Wars way of thinking, going down as a legitimate gaming classic with countless sequels following its success. Now fans can use their imaginations in real life, and allow the game developers to imagine for them in the virtual world. The Star Wars universe becomes something of a marketplace. The ultimate goal becomes to take over the galaxy, piece by piece, brick by brick. And with every level completed, LEGO cements its position as the true ruler of the Star Wars universe. Not convinced? Well, is it not rather suspicious that the LEGO Star Wars video game hits store shelves almost 2 months before Revenge of the Sith ever releases? That's right. The world's introduction to Anakin's final transformation into Darth Vader is experienced through none other than the lens of LEGO. One could almost argue that the Revenge of the Sith movie is, in fact, an adaptation of LEGO Star Wars, rather than the other way around. By the mid-aughts, Star Wars becomes a meticulously curated experience, engineered by LEGO, built around the idea that every kid can have their own piece of the galaxy. And the kids need it, because they will grow up to own nothing else. A tale of rebellion and resistance has been reduced to a carefully constructed series of retail transactions. And while kids might still play, build and dream, they do so within the confines of a much larger intergalactic regime. An empire where creativity is shackled by the very bricks that were supposed to set it free. As the LEGO Star Wars empire grows, it becomes a full-fledged religion. The once simple act of playing with plastic bricks evolves into a ritual, a practice passed down through the generations. The LEGO Star Wars video game, now a central pillar of this new faith, becomes the sacred scripture. It guides the faithful through the Force. The Holy Trinity becomes the Holy Trilogy, and much like the Bible, new entries expand the lore. Every level completed is a step closer to understanding the divine order of LEGO Star Wars. Not Star Wars, LEGO Star Wars. The game's simplicity, Its pure, unadulterated focus on collecting, building and completing mirrors the repetitive, almost meditative nature of religious devotion. The minifigures are now saints, icons of worship, akin to prayer candles. Each one represents a piece of the Holy Saga, their tiny, smiling faces a testament to their eternal importance in this new belief system. The Jedi, the Sith, the droids, they all have their place in the sacred hierarchy. These relics, often priced at a premium, are passed between the faithful like treasures, kept in pristine condition, preserved for the next generation of devotees. As the devout age, the prospect of playing with these figures becomes obsolete. No, some of these toys are now meant to be worshipped from afar, sealed away in a box. The act of building becomes a ceremony, a way to commune with the divine, to feel the presence of the Star Wars gods in every click of plastic. Vader, Luke, and Obi-Wan's ghost. Forums are created and fan clubs proliferate. They exchange tips, discuss rare sets, and share their latest builds. Parents too find themselves sucked into this new world. They buy and collect alongside their children, sharing in the creation of these miniature galaxies. But can this religion withstand the test of time? Unlike other trends of its ilk, LEGO Star Wars remains to this day. That's right, the Empire never strikes back, because it was never stricken to begin with. Not really. Despite a divisive Disney acquisition, an undoing of the expanded universe, and an onslaught of dreadful films and television programs, the Star Wars brand remains just as strong as ever, if not stronger. And LEGO Star Wars, its humble yet dedicated corner of the universe, is untarnished. Sure, the games aren't quite as beloved as they once were, but their ambition and passion shine through regardless. Today, adults, once the children who eagerly snapped together their first LEGO Star Wars set, still buy, build and worship these tiny plastic masterpieces. The innocent pastime of childhood has transformed into an enduring obsession for those whose loyalty was forged in the flames of their first LEGO Star Wars builds. Padme's shrines are replaced with Leia in a bikini. Megan Fox has some competition, don't you think? The toy aisle is no longer reserved for children alone. For better or for worse, it has become a place of pilgrimage for collectors and hobbyists with disposable income as well, which of course comes with its own hive of scum and villainy. Scalpers. Children and adult fans alike do what they can to fend against these bounty hunters. Unfortunately, the scalpers use advanced droids on their computers to scoop up all of the product before anyone gets the chance. Despite this obstacle, however, adults still gather in living rooms to recreate the Star Wars saga in miniature, and find solace and satisfaction in the precise act of building something that feels timeless. These sets, once designed primarily for children, now belong to grown-ups who display them proudly on shelves, who discuss them with the fervour of scholars. In truth, the 1999 alliance between LEGO and Lucasfilm was a treaty of sorts, a binding contract between generations. Old fans and new, in a common devotion. No need to debate if the sequels or the prequels are worse. No desire to squabble over who shot first. Just plastic bricks and peaceful reminiscence. These bricks are symbols of connection, of the ongoing struggle between the forces of creativity and consumerism. And now, over a quarter century later, LEGO and Lucasfilm continue to ensure that this treaty endures, solidifying their control and keeping harmony within the fandom. The true brilliance of this alliance lies in its ability to transcend time. The same people who once begged for a Darth Vader minifig under the Christmas tree now proudly display their meticulously built, uber-pricey Ultimate Collector Series Death Stars and Razor Crests. Just like adulthood itself, these sets are more complex and more expensive than the sets of childhood. And so, to this day, the Empire endures. Very much like its source material, it continues to orbit and be rebuilt time and time again. LEGO and Star Wars both remain dominant forces in the cultural zeitgeist, and with their powers combined, they are able to rule together. With every new generation, the cycle begins anew. You cannot destroy Lego Star Wars, for even if you do, it will always be revived from the pieces it left behind. And perhaps this philosophy lives within all Lego Star Wars fans, and within us all, always changing form, growing and building.